Okay, so these are my weaving notes for weaving tartan. I'm at a local international cultural fair doing a demonstration of weaving tartan on a loom. The loom is a Leclerc model M, so predated the Mira, so it's probably built somewhere late 1940s. 4-shaft counterbalance loom, and unlike my big lovely jack loom at home, this is a really nice quiet machine as you go. The yarn is a 216 tartan yarn from CamillaValleyFarm, and then they import it from one of the larger weaving mills in Scotland that specializes in weaving tartans, and so the colors are true. I've set it at 36 ends per inch, and I've started out 35 inches wide, and I use the temple to kind of keep it stretched. This yarn is quite fine and quite delicate, and we've had quite a number of problems with broken threads, which has been annoying. And two things seem to break the threads: either too much tension and then one thread just needs to go, or not quite enough tension and then I don't get a good separation in the shed, and the shuttle snags one or two or four of the warp as it flies across and breaks a few of the warp, and so that's been really frustrating. Slows the progress down. We're doing about a foot per hour, and what I've noticed that has really helped to kind of keep going is I have all of my shuttles off the left side. I'm a lefty, and the left salvage is I don't worry about it, and so it's got just the end pieces. I don't worry about weaving the end once back in, and that's actually really important. I'm doing 10 yards of warp on the loom, and with so many color changes, if you weave the end in, the edge that you're weaving the end in starts to build up thicker and thicker, and you start to distort the pattern because of all of the extra threads. So you have a sacrifice salvage on one side, and then the other salvage is left clean, and so that'll be clean for the edge of the kilt if you choose to do that, or some people choose to do a hemline and press it. But either way, you've got one clean edge and one sacrifice. The tartans themselves are always threaded in pairs, and so you'll always end up on the same side. And if I just move this across, and then the other nice thing about tartans is there's always two pivots. And so my yellow stripe is a pivot, and my purple stripe is a pivot. And so if you notice, choose where the two pivots meet, and then on the diagonal coming out from the pivot, you will always get the true colors. And so green crosses green, red crosses red, and so on. And then the idea is that this is the mirror image of this. And so you fold across, you can flip across the pivot, and you can flip across the pivot, and same thing with the yellow. You can flip both sides and the pattern just keeps going. And so I have my cheat sheet for what my pattern is supposed to be. I can actually just tell if I come here and I'm going, I did green, red, and now I'm building this green up until it's square. Okay. With it set at 36 threads per inch, and this is what the mills in Scotland set for tartan, I find I can only weave the weft at about 30 to 32 threads per inch, no matter how hard I beat, or if I beat with an open shed, beat with a closed shed, double beat, I can't pack it in quite to the extent that they can pack it in. And so you'll notice there then that these stripes here of the purple are not quite as distinct as these stripes are here. It leaves it just a little bit more warp-faced than true. What else can I tell you? Traditional kilts are 8 yards long, and so you want to weave about 9 yards of cloth because then it'll shrink down in the finishing down to your 8 yards. And so I've put on 10 yards of warp to allow for some waste as well. And then the weaving, of course, is just weaving. It's a 2-2 twill, and so I've set my treadles up. I use outside, outside, inside, inside. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4 in my rotation, and then away we go. And so we finish off on, there we go, finished off on treadle 4, and so set that across and then keep going with the red. And so and you go until it's square. So I made this one square, and then this one comes square, and then my next is going to be yellow. And because of the conversion, it's only where the warp had 4 shots, the weft just gets 2 shots. And so I just leave the tail loose. 1, 2, and then, so I've come to the pivot, and so I pivot back, and I'm just coming back up the diagonal, and so the next is the same square in the red. So 1,260 threads wide, set at 36 ends per inch, gives you 35 inches, and we're doing 9 yards. So it was about 16 hours, we figured, to set the whole thing up and thread everything, and it's about 24 hours to leave it off at this pace. A little bit more. And that's square, and then so square, square, then I'm onto the green, and away we go. Happy weaving.